situation going on right over next here, and that's they're letting about 300 cubic feet per second out, and that's not good. It's the first discharges from the lake in a while, but they're caught with this high lake level, and they're got to go somewhere with it, and they don't have anywhere to go south. And that's our big point today, is that we need to buy that land south of the lake in order to have storage, treatment, and conveyance and move that water south. So that's our whole point today. We called this press meeting because we wanted the press and media here to understand the gravity of the situation. Even though this is not a huge discharge like we had in 2013, it could be, because we're right at that same elevation as the lake was back in 2013 at this same time of year. And if they don't get the lake down to 12.5 feet by June 1st, they're going to be really in trouble for hurricane season. So they're really nervous about the whole lake stage and why it's so high. And the Corps of Engineers is having to juggle over this and make decisions about what they can do with the water. And the only engineered way to do it is to release it to the St. Lucie, Caloosahatchee on the west coast. And they are putting a little bit south, but they're not putting enough because they don't have the capacity. And our whole point here is that we need capacity to put water south. And that's the reason why we need to buy that land and send it south and build some storage and treatment and conveyance to move it. You know, we're all gathered here before. We've all had huge rallies. You've all supported the fact that we got to turn out thousands at a time to these things. Even when the governor came that year and made his little appearance back there and came into the visitor center here, but he didn't come out and talk to the crowd, which was totally disrespectful to us, I think. I think he needed to address us. He needed to tell us what he's going to do and how he's going to help this situation. And he still does. And now that he's elected for a second term, we put out those 9 or 10 things that he's promised that he will do in his second term. And one of them is to stop these damaging discharges to the estuary. So we got to hold his feet to the fire. Not only the governor, but the state legislature, to use the Amendment 1 monies to start buying that land south of the NDAA and push that water south. Because we don't have enough land there to make any kind of project or any kind of program. Now we have projects going on over here with the C44 project you might have heard about, or Kissimmee, or all these other projects, and they're good, but the C44 is only going to take care of our local basin runoff in the C44. It's not going to deal with these discharges from Lake Okeechobee. So the only way to deal with them is to put the water south. And they've tried all kinds of looking at other projects, they've looked at other things, and it really boils down to, we've got to have enough land south of the lake, and that means buying up the Everglades agricultural area. And there's an option on the table this year, until October this year, to purchase 46,800 acres of land. Now that amount of land will take about $350 million, which sounds like a lot, but the Amendment 1 tax, the Amendment 1 will generate about $600 million a year. So we're only saying take part of that, take half of that, and let's buy some of this land that we have the option on just this year until October. If we don't do it now, we're going to miss this opportunity. And he's already missed several opportunities in the past to get this purchase going and buy the land so that we can have that capacity to move that water south. Otherwise, it's going to keep dumping out, and we're going to get worse conditions than this if we don't have a plan to go forward. So it is about our jobs in Florida. It's about what we do here, and this is really, really important that you all showed up today to show the press and media why this is important to you as a citizen. And I hope they interview you. I hope they come around and talk to you. I hope that you explain to them personally, whether it's the kids or us adults, why it's important to us personally, because we live here, we work here, we want this river and this estuary to be just what it is. And that's the Indian River Lagoon, the St. Lucie estuary need to be a natural system. And the natural system south, the Everglades, is starving for water. I was at an Everglades conference this past weekend, and they're starving for water. Florida Bay is too high in salinity. The spoonbills can't nest, things can't happen because that water's not going to the Everglades. So instead, they're dumping it out here, and it's a terrible waste of water. 1.7 billion gallons a day we're wasting to the Atlantic and Gulf of Mexico, when all of us in South Florida, 7.5 million people, we consume 1.3 billion. So we're literally dumping more water to the Atlantic and Gulf and all these flood control things than we actually consume, which is ludicrous at my point. So I just ran along. I want to tell you that what's important to us is this muck too. We're getting a lot of muck and silt and sediment. In 2013 we had 6,800 metric tons. That's about 9,000 cubic yards. That's enough to fill an acre about 5.5 feet high. So it's really a lot of muck. And what we need to do is send it south.
Has been the force behind the Rivers Coalition for 2 decades. Please give Leon Abood a round of applause as he will address us as the Rivers Coalition. We are all part of this coalition.
Thank you very much. I hadn't realized, well, I have realized it has been that long. If you would have told me in 1998 that we'd be standing here now still fighting for this, for our estuary and for the lagoon, I would have said it was improbable, but here we are again today. Here we are again today. But look at these young faces. If there's anything that should motivate our politicians and motivate our policymakers, is to correct this tragedy to our area for these young people. Because this is the future. These young people are our future. Protecting the environment, protecting the St. Lucie Estuary and the Indian River Lagoon is not only vital for our quality of life, it's vital for our economic sustainability and vital for the well-being of our young children. The message that we want you to take with you here today is that when the Rivers Coalition formed in 1998, our primary goal was to, and still is to stop the discharges from Lake Okeechobee permanently. We need to stop the discharges from Lake Okeechobee permanently. And there is a light at the end of the tunnel. The state has to exercise the next option to purchase the EA8 land south of Lake Okeechobee so we can begin formulating the land so that we can create a flowway to move the water south from here into the Everglades, which vitally needs the water. So these young faces are your motivation, politicians. These young faces are your motivation for our policymakers. We need to buy the land, we need to send the water south, and for the Rivers Coalition, it is very buoying for us to have such community support here, such community support. The community gets it, the community is aware, our politicians have got to get it, the agencies have got to get it, and I want to thank you all very much for your support, and I want to thank the River Kids. Look how big they're getting. This is the next generation of environmental warriors right here, folks. Give them your support. And we want to thank you very much for your support on behalf of the Rivers Coalition, now representing over 300,000 people. We're going to keep pounding away at it. People are surprised that we're still doing this after 20 years. We're making progress, and we'll be here for another 20, for another 40 until we permanently fix this. We have to send the water south. We have to send it south now. Thank you very much, and give the River Kids a rousing round of applause.
Point out that we have the St. Lucie River Kids here today and the Martin County River Kids today. St. Lucie County and Martin County are united in what we want for our water future, which is to buy the ocean, send the water south, and stop this tragedy. Chair of the Martin County Commission, Ed Fielding, will say a few words. Ed has been an incredible leader in forming the new National Estuary Program that will be coming forward, and all he's done for Martin County with forming the Indian River Council, which included all counties along the lagoon. Because, ladies and gentlemen, kids and adults, we cannot do this alone. We need to bring everyone into this to accomplish our goal. Please give Ed Fielding a warm round of applause.
Period of now almost 20 years, finally people are now becoming involved. So what I'm going to suggest strongly to everybody that's here, we periodically, every week or so, we have county commission meetings, and we always have people attend for their personal preference items. Very seldom do we have people come to say, please, please, let's fight for the water. Now, we are fighting for the water, but how much stronger you can help us be, because we go out to various meetings all over the state, and we're not always received well, candidly, when we do that. And so we would need your encouragement. I'm asking that you come and encourage us as you're able. Come to those county commission meetings, come to those local planning meetings, and come and say, help us. We need your help. And that will, we are trying to do that, but that will give us support. We appreciate that very much. questions. Thank you very much.
Elder. She's our veteran folks that remembers me when I was this age. And we were just talking about how I grew up in this river system too, and we wanted to enjoy it just like I did back then, and Maggie does too. And that is to hunt and fish and enjoy the waterways and really get to see this estuary be an estuary. And I hope we can do it in our lifetime so we can see it happen and start to happen so we can pass that on to the next generation. So let's hear from Maggie Urchella.
Yay, Maggie!
I am so proud of you all for being here, because when you decided to come this morning, it was cold and it was wet and it was gloomy, and you came anyway. You need to understand that Martin County is going to be the tail that wags the dog, because you can't just get active here. You're going to have to email your friends all over the state. You're going to have to email your friends in Miami and point out to them that their city is going to die if you don't send the water south. You're going to have to get people organized everywhere and get the spirit you've got going here going in other places. You've got the facts behind you, and the whole message is buy the land, send the water south. I am an optimist. I have met and talked to Governor Rick Scott, and I know that he is capable of listening, and I know that he is not stupid. He understands business. He understands return on investment. Florida is committed over $1 billion to restoring the Everglades. If we don't buy the land and send the water south, we will have thrown that away. Rick Scott is for controlling taxes. Throwing away $1 billion of the public's money is not controlling taxes. But I think, probably more important, I don't believe Rick Scott is a coward. And he is the only person who has the ability and the power to make that option purchase happen at this time. But again, I did bring my raincoat today. And I understand from folks we talked to at the EFCO conference and in the governor's office that the governor has just issued a press release yesterday telling us that he is committed to completing the C44 and the C43 reservoirs in his second term. That's not what we're asking for. Mark says those are good projects. But if they had been in place in the summer of 2013, the green slime would have been there, the discharges would have been very close to the same thing, the estuary would have been destroyed. What we want is to buy the land and send the water south.
Yeah. Send it south!
For those of us who were at EVCO, we heard a lot of the agency heads, and I've heard this from folks in the governor's office saying, but all of the options will remain on the table. In my cynical frame of mind, that tells me they're not going to do it. All the options will remain on the table. But if we don't move on this soon, not wait and leave the options on the table until October, until the process starts, unless it starts within the next couple of months, they can't meet the option deadlines, and it can't happen. So we need to organize all those 75% of the voters in the state of Florida who voted to buy the land and save the state. We need to organize ourselves and reorganize ourselves. We need to tell the governor, the Water Management District board members, the legislature, that we do believe they are going to do the right thing. And we need to bring our raincoat. So I would urge you to stay optimistic, stay fighting, and make it happen. Thank you.
It's just like she said, you know, the governor of our state has the power to influence that purchase and move that water south. He needs to hear from us, who are the ultimate power, and that's the people of Florida. You and I, as citizens of Florida, need to tell the governor who's elected by us to do this purchase and move that water south.